Jeffrey Brabham, son of the former world champ. Starting in row 2, Elliott Forbes Robinson and Can-Am Series leader Patrick Tambay of Paris, France. Through the final series of turns, the pace car heads for pit road, the field coming down, and we're underway. Brabham grabs the lead. Morton in the white car tries desperately to find an opening. Side by side, they thunder down to turn 1. Brabham on the inside. Tambay is second. Morton third. The field streaming into the first of 55 laps. Through the chicane for the first time, 28-year-old Jeff Brabham the leader. Morton has taken over second spot. Tambay falls to third. Down the long backstretch, speeds 175 miles per hour. Brabham diving into the right-hander with Morton, Tambay, Elliott Forbes Robinson, and Bobby Rahal in hot pursuit. Brabham, plagued with troubles in the series to date, asserts himself quickly on lap 1. But it's rush hour traffic in the battle for that number 2 spot. Morton in the white car running second, bird-dogging the tracks of the leader, Jeff Brabham. The battle for third finds Tambay nose to tail with Elliott Forbes Robinson. Through the uphill left-hander, no change in the lead positions. Fifth spot belongs to Stephen South. Bobby Rahal's jet black number 8 is sixth. Seventh is Al Holbert in the number 14 car. Brabham using every inch of racetrack trying to stretch his lead over the persistent John Morton, but look at this battle for third. Lap 1 is complete. Jeff Brabham in the Team BDS Lola out front, continuing a family tradition of motor racing excellence established by his father Jack, three-time world champ, and an influence on his son.
Yes, I feel that when I first started, it was basically quite a help to me. But now, as I sort of regressed up the ladder, the pressure is probably greater now than it's ever been. But now I have a good relationship with my father, and it doesn't really worry us very much. But I think it has some effect for sure. One thing he's never done is told me how to drive in any way whatsoever. You just basically got to get out there and do whatever feels comfortable to you. Not trying to do what other people do.
A 2-second lead can hardly be considered comfortable in this highly competitive battle for $85,000 in prize money, but that's the margin that Jeff Brabham enjoys over John Morton in the white number 15. Running third is Patrick Tambay's red number 1. Elliott Forbes Robinson, currently running fourth, is coming off a string of bad racing luck. He's been plagued by crashes and breakdowns of late, but right now he has Tambay locked in a battle for third position. Leader Brabham in command of the course in the early running. The front runner slithering through the turns, skating along the razor edge of traction. There's Forbes Robinson sliding all the way to the grass as he and his fellow Chargers thunder in pursuit of the leader. We asked Elliott Forbes Robinson how a driver, Jeff Brabham, seemingly inviting everyone to take their best shot as a tight 5-car duel continues here in the early laps of this 186-mile grind. Brabham takes the field back to turn 1, then into the short chute and headed for that tricky curb line chicane where the fast line bumps right up over the concrete course marker. Morton second, Tambay third. Elliott Forbes Robinson in trouble. Forbes Robinson spinning his car out of control, and he's hit by his teammate head on, smashing into Forbes Robinson's automobile. Stephen South and Forbes Robinson collide. The yellow flag is displayed, and the two Budweiser cars are destroyed in this grinding crash. It's remarkable, but both drivers are bailing out of the shattered remains of those automobiles. The pace car has taken the field in tow here. The leader, Brabham, comes back toward the scene of that crash that has dramatically altered the lineup among the leaders. Stephen South is out. Elliott Forbes Robinson's racer is reduced to a twisted hulk. What a disastrous moment for the Budweiser team here in the Citicorp Cup Can-Am Challenge. With another look at Elliott Forbes Robinson's dramatic spin in the chicane, a spin that sent him directly into the path of his teammate Stephen South and resulted in this horrendous crash that knocked out two of the front runners. Well, most importantly, both drivers were unhurt. Now, as the pace car prepares to turn the field loose on the restart, the running order will be Jeff Brabham, the leader, John Morton second, Patrick Tambay third. And a seemingly cool, calm, and collected Stephen South talks about that crash. Stephen, what happened out there with the Budweiser team?
Well, just really bad luck. Elliot was right in front of me. We're going through the chicane, and I think Elliot locked a brake or something. And he hit the curb on the chicane, and the car flew into the air, spun around backwards. And I was right behind him, coming through the chicane. And I piled straight into him.
There was no prospect to replenish his CRC chemicals machine in anticipation of the restart. Racing is an exciting and, as we've just seen, a dangerous business. Holbert, a man of many facets, keeps his motorized competition in clear perspective. Well, of course, and we're back underway. Brabham again takes command. John Morton in second spot, and Patrick Tambay is third. Brabham peels off into turn one, looking for his first victory ever in Can-Am competition, following in the footsteps of his legendary racing father. John Morton and Patrick Tambay in hot pursuit of this transplanted New Zealander. Brabham now making his home and his racing headquarters in Tustin, California. He has led this Watkins-Glen confrontation from the outset today. Meanwhile, El Segundo, California's John Morton, who set a record in qualifying to claim the pole for this race, has shadowed Brabham's every move. Patrick Tambay, the pre-race favorite, lurking in third spot. There's an element of desperation here in Morton's pursuit of leader Brabham. The soft-spoken Morton confesses that he's more at home in the cockpit of his race car than in the corporate boardrooms where sponsorship dollars, the monetary lifeblood of racing, are negotiated. As a result, the team is out of money, facing a premature end to the racing season unless that white number 15 can come home a winner here today. Moving out toward the front straightaway, John Morton. Oh, and he's out almost into the grass, kicking up a cloud of dust. Morton, a Charger, a big favorite of fans and fellow drivers alike. And among other things, Morton has done a bit of stunt driving, though characteristically he plays down the risks in that kind of work. Now, as we approach the scheduled pit stops for the leader, Morton is closing the gap on the leader, Jeff Brabham. The crowd is alive with excitement, the lead battle raging up and down the hills of this beautiful tree-lined circuit. Brabham leading, Morton stalking. Tambay has slipped off the pace. This has become a one-on-one confrontation. The disabled car of Stephen Payne Herbert lies stricken beside the course as Brabham and Morton thunder past, alone in their quest for supremacy at Watkins-Glen. Testing each other at every turn, knowing that the slightest miscue could send them skittering into that unforgiving fence. These are the only two cars to qualify in excess of 121 miles per hour for this race. They've run out front from the start, and as they come back to the start-finish line straightaway, they're separated by just a few car lengths. Brabham perhaps slightly faster in straightaway speed, Morton scrambling to overcome that disadvantage as they work through the turns. Now here's Bobby Rahal in his black Ampex car limping ever so slowly toward the pits, the left front suspension broken. Rahal is out of contention. Meanwhile, on pit road, third place, Patrick Tambay in for fuel. He's signaling desperately to his crew that he needs a push. It appears Tambay's clutch is gone. He can't get the car back into gear. Well, this is going to cost the #1 driver in Can-Am competition a lot of valuable time. Carl Haas, the owner of the magic-colored paint-sponsored Lola, pacing frantically as Tambay tries to get back underway. Finally, he catches a gear, and there he goes. And immediately, the leaders come on pit road together. Brabham and Morton are in for fuel. Morton's pit located right at the entrance to pit road. Brabham all the way down at the other end, and the race is on to see who gets out first. Brabham has stalled the engine. He's going to need a push. Morton is back underway, thundering down pit road like a dragster. This is going to be close. Oh, and the leader cars have crashed. They smashed together. It's unbelievable. Carl Haas flagging down traffic. Fire trucks racing to the scene. Brabham wheels his car off pit road toward the safety of the paddock, and down toward turn 1, John Morton climbs out of the shattered remains of his race car, which has ground to a halt on the pit exit. Morton appears to be okay, but his hopes to breathe life back into this racing team with a win today have been smashed in that bizarre pit road crash. Well, let's have another look at this. The cars come onto pit road. Morton at the far end stops first, while Brabham in the foreground comes to a halt. Brabham's stop was much quicker, but the car stalled, and that gave Morton the opportunity he needed. Brabham gets a push as Morton comes hurtling down pit road, and in slow motion you get a graphic look at the moment of impact and the hair-raising escape for 3 crewmen along pit wall. A terrifying moment indeed, and now a long and dejected walk back to the garage for Jeff Brabham, who wishes he had that moment back to relive much differently. Meanwhile, Brabham's race car is pushed away from the scene of that melee, which fortunately resulted only in mechanical damage and no injuries. It could have been much, much worse. Now at the far end of pit road, Bobby Rahal has finally limped in. Rahal is scrambling to get out of the car. The crew looking underneath. There's fire. Rahal fleeing the flames that have erupted under the car. Apparently something was rubbing and it caused fire to break out. Now as the safety crews scramble to extinguish that blaze, well, we've had a wild and woolly time. A sequence of events here on pit road unlike any before in Can-Am Challenge competition. Back on the racetrack, meanwhile, who should inherit the lead but Patrick Tambay, the dashing Frenchman who has lost his clutch and must now try to nurse his car home. We're back at Watkins-Glen, New York in the Sports Car Club of America's Can-Am Challenge. The laps are winding down for the leader, Patrick Tambay of Paris, France, who has avoided the wholesale demolition of the front-running automobiles in this race. Now, on pit road for the final time comes Al Holbert, currently second. Holbert signaling his crew, and there's a problem with the refueling process. Gasoline pouring out onto the car instead of into the fuel tank. The crew trying to coax that nozzle into doing its job, and that's an opening for young Danny Sullivan and the Garvin Brown racing machine. Sullivan takes on fuel as the struggle continues with Holbert's car. Danny Sullivan is going to take over second spot on the racetrack. Sullivan roaring off to what could be his best Can-Am finish ever, and pit problems again take their toll, this time on Al Holbert, relegated to third spot by that incident. Holbert getting back underway. Meanwhile on the course, here's Gary Gove, Tacoma, Washington, leading the race within a race for machines under 2 liters. And on pit road, Bobby Rahal will tell us what happened to sideline his machine.
I guess the bolt broke or something, and it just trying to get back to the pits and caught on fire. Small fire, nothing serious, but she just, you know, we were looking good for a finish. That's all I could do. The car wasn't fast enough to you know, win on outright speed, and it was like...
Man, Patrick Tambay is strictly against time. His transmission is howling in protest from the abuse that it suffered since the clutch let go early in the race. Tambay trying to limp home ahead of his remaining opposition. Well, this 187-mile grind has taken a heavy toll today, but Tambay has endured. Into the final series of turns goes the leader. Moving out onto the front chute where the checkered flag awaits, Patrick Tambay defies the odds to win the Watkins-Glen Can-Am. Danny Sullivan of Louisville, Kentucky scores his best career Can-Am finish with second place. And the throng awaits in Victory Circle as Patrick Tambay wheels in at the low 530, claiming the most sought-after real estate in motor racing.